in previous versions, excuse me, as the Kyochon Honey Ladies Open. Slightly different name, but same competition and a fantastic host this week in the southwest of this wonderful country. We are, of course, heading into the week following the Major Championship, the KLPGA Championship presented by Chris FNC, a 3-round event with 132 players in the field, and the weather's not going to get a whole lot nicer tomorrow. So this battle of attrition is officially on. With the wind at her back, a big push closer and closer to the pin for Pacquiao. Our two leaders at the minute tied at 4 under par. Go to number 1, the first hole, excuse me, the first hole of the back nine, the 10th hole of the day for Kyochon. Of course, we saw the dazzling display at Lakewood. She is even par, which to her credit is 4 off the lead, but very good score at the moment. Kyochon is our defending champion from last year when she had a 4-shot victory over Iga Young. The next approach at the second is nearly on, but stuck on that front lip from Lee Jung-min. Going out with a 37. She gets an opportunity to try this putt. It will be to attempt a par save. That says it all. You can't do much of anything, let alone attempt a putt when you have near gale force winds. 5.1 meters per second the wind, and that's how steady it is, not even factoring the gusts. We've seen 47 millimeters of rain today alone, and it's not going to clear up. If anything, it's going to get windier, it's going to get rainier, and there will be a chance for thunderstorms in the next few hours. Finally ready, your patience nearly pays off. Close, but we'll be dropping once more. That remains for bogey. As you can see, it's not been without birdies. She did have one on 13, but that's her 3rd square on the scorecard at this point in the tournament. So we'll go back to 2. The Valley course is the front 9. The Lake course is the back this week. Putting into the wind, and it's very good control of the speed from Lee Jung-min. Be about a 10-centimeter tap for her par. There's very little to do in these conditions other than try and be as patient as possible. This putt about 3 feet shy uphill, the wind blowing right across. You can tell why there's some trepidation in this approach. Jiang waits just long enough. That's her first par of the back nine. Birdie on the second hole of the day, and a bogey on the penultimate of that front nine. Stays it even. A couple of holes further down on 4, Yu Soyan 2. She left a lot to be desired in terms of the pace of that putt. Tricky little flop. She got that clean, but perhaps a bit too much. Soaring over the break and about 6 feet off to the right. It's no straightforward putt for par next either. Me, that was a chance to get out of the logjam that is the tie for 36th at the moment. 11 players at that mark. Only 19 under par, an additional 9 at even. Our champ from a few weeks ago still looking for birdie number 1 of the day. Bogey 3 from the fringe. Wouldn't be unfair to say that she is stumbling a bit out of the gates. +5 and hoping to avoid one final bogey today. We rejoin Bacchial. Downhill, so just a little tap. She didn't have her line in. It was hit with quite some velocity behind it. That will be a bogey. Hodabin has been on a fantastic start to the day. A par to stay at 3 under. She goes out with a 33. So she settles just 1 beneath our co-leaders at 4 under, 69. One of 3 players with that score in the clubhouse. Over to 2, Cho Ayan. Gets underneath it, and now she's at the mercy of the wind. Clears the water and settles it comfortably into the fairway. I think she was worried if there was any more of a headwind, that might be a splash. You often have to commend the patrons, especially for the early rounds midweek. But when it's as blustery and soggy as it is today, you have to be a diehard of the sport. Credit where credit is due. Young over the water and even through the fairway, stopping just before the bunker on the left-hand side as we take a top-down view of what has transpired here on the par 5 fourth. As you can see, the tee shot right into the sand. It's not a bad recovery of 124 meters to set up a third shot. 145 still to go, and a 5-wood from the fairway. Kim looking for that little extra. Short of the green and in that rough. Young is the only player to have no difficulties whatsoever on the tee. She is, of course, the two-time champion of last week's event. She shot a 73 on Sunday as she failed to really make a push for her third title. We've seen glimpses, flashes from her this season of fantastic golf. It's still that full tournament that we're waiting to see her put together. And Sung Yi from the extreme left cuts that across, just fails to stop in time on the green. So here's how we sit at the minute. Kim Jung on her 18th and final hole of the day, sharing the lead with Kim Min-ju, who still has 6 more holes to go. Mentioned those 3 rounds of 69 directly underneath them. Hung Jung-mi, Park Bo-gyam, and Ho Da-bin, who we just saw recently finish her round. Plenty of jostling to be done for those tied at 10th at 1 under par. It is blustery, it is soggy, but it's not dampening the spirits as we begin the 9th Kyochon 1991 Ladies Open. Stay with us. We'll be back to the course in just a few minutes. Back to Busan. Joyeon preparing for her approach. A good little spot in the fairway. We'll have a wide open look down towards the green. Wants to be about middle right. Hole high, not too shabby whatsoever. We'll have a rather lengthy downhill putt for birdie, but more likely a 2-putt par. As we go over to 3 with Pacquiao. One of 2 140-meter par 3s, this and the 16th. It's brilliantly delivered. Nothing is a guaranteed or particularly great look at a birdie today, but that is certainly one she'll be able to manage. Much more on the money. Back at 2. Kyochon trying to get whatever shelter she can. Back across the green, still not all the way there. On 2, their left heel nearly in the sand. Perched up in a not so bad position whatsoever, and she plays the resulting approach as such. There are 3 distinct bunkers surrounding this 3rd hole, and all the way into the one at the back is where we find Lee Jung-min. The sand will be playing a lot like rough today with how heavy and thick it is with all the rain. So great up. Now the trick is always, can she get back down? Nod of the head from Kim Min-ju. She's been bogey free, through 11 holes, but now some difficulties as she goes back to back over par. Lee Jo-mi also feeling A close call. Dangling over the edge of the cup, just a tap in. Not the upward movement that she was after, no doubt. With all that green to locate, that is a disappointing short approach. And quite frankly, fully misaligned. Opportunity to get to even, still in a decent spot inside that top 20, from what I mean. See how that putt was anything but straightforward. Downhill and full of break. 4 feet still remaining. Up the putter from Lee Jung-min. She's through another. Sand to the bottom of the hole. Catch up with An Sun-ju. Decent little effort on 4 over the rough, and maybe could have used a bit more carried, obviously, but worth highlighting how soft both the fairways and greens are playing. A little bit more forgiving. Despite the wind, Park Yang-young. A little bit of class on that putt as she records birdie number 2 today. Her first since hole number 4. Who's a bit short. And as they finish out, we will take you around this first par 3 of the course, the first of the valley. 140 meters and uphill. We've seen one of those bunkers already in use. See how there are some serious changes in elevation, especially towards the left side of the putting surface. Today though, it's just before that break. Anything in the middle, I'll be feeling like a shot at birdie is very much possible. Hodabin and Kyochon are two of just 3 players all day to record back-to-back birdies, the other being Hyun. Up and towards the left side of the green from Bakyango. So Jude does well to avoid dropping another. One of just a handful under par. And with the vast number of players in the field, still plenty of players who have yet to tee off, especially with some of the delays in getting started today. Only 7 players so far today have found a birdie here. Looking to rewrite that stat and off to a tremendous start to this small par 3. It's not often that 2 putts are disappointing, but for Chung Yoon-ji, that's very much the case. Back to 3. Baek Jeong is able to get on, but only just as that hits just on the front and goes no further. We had seen a two-way tie at the top, but the bogey from Kim Min-ju just a few minutes ago leaves Kim Woo-jung at the top, all by her lonesome. A 68 in the opening round, and she is in the clubhouse now. Only 14 players under par, still with about half the field waiting to begin their rounds. Another healthy swath at even. 31 players at the moment, even or lower. This is the opening of 3 rounds of the 9th Kyochon 1991 Ladies Open. We'll head back out to the soggy Asiade Country Club in just a few moments. Well, a 3-round event on an absolute gem of a country club that is the Asiadi Country Club, Kyochon in Busan. Of course, that was opened back in 2002 for the Asian Games. Perio-dai course. Just about every amenity you could hope for. Certainly glimmers in the summer sun. Doesn't look too bad in the springtime rain either. Park Ji-young had been lucky just to reach the green. She was always going to be in tough to try and convert on that birdie. Few players have a read and a consistent level of execution of the course like Park Ji-young. Gets her birdie to get back to even. We can now say that there are 4 players who have been able to record back-to-back birds thus far today. Such luck. It'd be unfair to say an easier putt. There aren't many of those out there today. Certainly one that will sting. We go from the very tiny par 3 into the par 5, number 4. 440 meters it is. It's very curious to see how the second shots are approached. Of course, you get the dogleg right off the bat, slightly downhill as well. There you have that jut of trees that make the fairway feel significantly more narrow. Towards the green. Plenty of sand defending all around. You don't need much at all of that putting surface in round number 1, just off the front and right is where we find the pin today. Starting to play with a fair bit of confidence, as you might expect from the player with back-to-back birdies, and takes advantage of the conditions for a change instead of just trying to hang on. Soft fairways mean she's not at risk of rolling towards the rough and the bunkers. That was at number 4, which is where that featured group is heading. Unfortunate for Hong Jung-min.
선수 생애 첫 우승을 달성합니다.
Going on 9 years of this competition, going all the way back to 2014. For the longest stretch, it seemed like only Kim May-Reem was allowed to win this competition. She had her stretch of 3 in a row, 2016 through 18. Of course, the improbable and spectacular week that Park Bo-mi had 2 years ago now. So as you could see in a bit of a creative graphic, it's a rotating tournament. And we're at the same course multiple years in a row. Fairway to fairway as our featured group continues their trip around number 4. In the meantime, we will head back to the par 3 on 6 at Songyi. 2 off the lead. 4 more holes to play. All the way towards the back left of the green. Right to left effort across this fairway before setting up for the approach shot down. She looks to go 3 from 3. This pitch up from Bakiel, unfortunately, that had been shot number 4. Taking the birdie off the cards. Still 254. .476 meters, only number 15 is longer. Plays that well. You can see why everyone is making that shot to where the fairway widens on the left. Gives you the cleanest look, especially with the pin placement today. It's a must-have to avoid a bogey for Bakiel now. It's a straight all the way through. Quick and offline, and she will be headed over par. Haven't seen that much havoc from the wind just yet today. Looks wet, but we'll see when she reaches the green. Of a helpful push downhill and giving that extra little kick. between clubs and honestly a bit blinded by the rain. Get the rangefinder out, figure it out, add in a little bit extra for the wind, add in a little bit extra for the thick rough. Finally, the green light to go. Okay, Young is unable to reach and stay on the green. Got a 5 on Sunju. Needed that to avoid a bogey. About 6 feet. That's a significant blow. She waited until hole number 11 of the day to finally get under par, and unfortunately for her, the time at that score is short-lived. Tough to avoid the conditions. Do your best and hang on. Finally ready to approach. All things considered, it's a very manageable birdie putt when she reaches the green, just on before the fringe at the back right. back up the hill. Still about 8 feet shy for EA1. Just teed off about 15 minutes ago. 5-6. See, very soft, very slow greens. That's without factoring in the wind. Reem also looking at a birdie, this from just inside of 4 meters. Putt has been converted 50% of the time this season. Back in online at the very end to about 2 feet away. So going down is a 2-putt par. A 2-putt finish, excuse me. Double bogey for Kim Min-ju. She was 2 putts, but that was after that initial tee shot into the pond. One up the hill with the wind at her back. She's pulled that. Misjudged and mishit. Starts the day with a bogey. Sign of slowing down. On and off the green in a flash. Finally come to rest at the fringe, the rear of the putting surface, and now Pak Yang from the sand. Doesn't strike the ball well at all, and she is unable to get out of the trap and will now be on shot number 5. So he's still within 2. Carry that score to hole number 7 as she picks up an impressive par. Still a bogey-free round. Very much late in the day. Incredibly impressive considering the challenges that the weather are posing in this opening round. And will now be take 2 for Pak Yang. Chokes up on the grip of this sand wedge. She's able to get out this time. Now can she stop? Until she goes for that little extra loft just to make sure She escapes from the sand this time, and as a result, unable to get the ball to stop. To 5. With a brilliant tee shot with the hybrid in the hand. Still a long way back, but it's an opportunity to move inside the top 10 for Kyochon. She had shot a 66 in the opening round last year on the way to her win. Topped only by Park So-yeon in 2019, who had a 65 to start this event. Not quite enough to get all the way to the hole. Nudge it forward. Throw a little closer to the end of day 1. It is a birdie. It is a par, excuse me. Audible reaction aghast that it's not a bird. Mishits and troubles unfortunately carry on. It would have been for a bogey. Now it's a must-have, or all of those birdies earlier in the day, or for not. Narrowly avoiding her groupmate's ball marker. Might have even given her the final redirection to get all the way into the hole for Hong Jung-min. Still a nice shot from the French. Jiang could certainly use a bit of a break. Let's see how the tee shot on the par 3 goes here at 3 for Amy Jung. It was even through 2 holes in this opening round, all the way down in hole high. wrong side of the putting surface. Absolutely no rush here from Kyochon. Tie for 16th. To outside of the top 60. Certainly anything other than a hole-out would be bordering on calamity. The wind isn't helping, but you can tell that there's some anxiety standing over this putt. Yes, that is sideways rain that you can see in the background. One she needed to have, but you can tell just how deflating of a hole that is. Back-to-back birdies, and she's still over par through 4 holes on the back 9. Certainly not ideal. She landed to how far she still has to go. A bit more bite than that on the approach at 2, but EA1 and company are slowly working their way down. Selection in retrospect with the wind driving that ball off the green. The intensity of the precipitation is only increasing. We've gone from steady rain to torrential downpour. A slight break in the weather at 6. We'll go to 2. JNU. Still only 10 days removed from her big victory. Yeah, the nascent holes of her first round. Wind's slowed down to a stop. She blasts that, and if not for the flag being in, she's probably off the green, but that ball made a beeline for the hole. Gets the 1 under par, her first birdie, and it only takes her 3 holes. Sung-Yi's still without a bogey in this opening round. She has 3 holes to play and is 2 back of the lead. Issei early days, but already up to 2 under par. We had seen Park Young in and around these scores 1 under and even until that double bogey that pushes her all the way outside of the top 60. More and more players beginning their rounds, and another healthy contingent towards the end. We will bring you all of that action as our coverage of the opening round of the 9th Kyochon 1991 Ladies Open will continue. Well, here we are from the fairway at number 7 with Unsongi. Just 3 holes still to conclude before the end of her first round. Hardly put a step wrong all day. Trying to reach and stay put on the very front of the green. She is the furthest back of everyone in the group, maybe overcompensating a little bit with the wind. You could tell it was not struck perfectly on the ball. Topped it a little bit, lost the loft, and made a beeline towards the back of that green. drama whatsoever with a nice tee shot. Joy on at 5. Short of the green. Has to get this up and back down pretty quick. The wind will help push her the rest of the way. Six feet to the right. Two rounds through, and at even. Her tee shot on the par 3. Work its way down towards pin high. She's off to a great start. Catching back up with the A1, her 3rd and 2. Starts to move over on lines. Great wedge control. But apart from there would be a shock. Brilliantly, she started the calendar year. Still up in the top 5 in her sophomore season. Dangerous game with the line there, and will end up costing her a stroke. Gonna go back to 2. Stop the break for Cheanu. Not enough speed to reach the target. Next. Wouldn't be banking on a birdie here on Sung-Yi. Started that well right, expecting to come back, and it never does. If anything, it caught more fade and away movement. Now that par is far from guaranteed. Cherim, her birdie putt at 2. Her misses to the inside and about 2 feet away. See herself drop back to 2 over par with the bogey here. She is currently tied for 65th position. Certainly appropriately placed dramatic music here. It's a pretty simple rule. Do not be left. The fairway might be there for the taking, but any more to the tree line in behind of Bakyang at the moment, and there is quite frankly, no look at the green. Doesn't help with the pin being only 8 yards from the sand trap on the left. Wouldn't call it a great look. But let's see what Pak Young-kyung can come up with here. She wanted to be a bit left, but certainly not that much as she kicks from the putting surface into the rough and disappears beneath the hill towards that sand trap. Peng Xin-chiu basically putting from a puddle. Wanted and needed to give that a good crack. Was never going to stop in time with that much pace. Next up is Cho-Ayan. Wanted to go on her tiptoes to peer over and try and find the flag. It almost ended up with a face plant. That on the approach twice now. Springtime weather, always unpredictable. We're still a couple of months removed yet from the wettest part of the year. June and July, more used to these kinds of conditions. I'll play if you're not ready. In the meantime, over to 7, Kim Min-ju. Not long ago, she was looking at a double bogey. Now it's her 6th birdie of the day. It's just a strange stretch that she's had, as she had hardly done anything but birdie. Chunk of the round. Cho-Ayan is seemingly ready to try this again. Gets a long enough break. Wind and in the rain to play the approach, but she too is unable to land and stay on the green. Shield. Slightly misaligned. We'll have a tap in and we'll be going down. Of the next 4 holes for this featured group are par 4s. They'll finish their rounds par 5 9th. Young had gone beyond the fairway. A wide open green. It's a high lofted approach. She's going to get the helpful move off to the left. GIR from this threesome. Unsung-yi, thought she was going to be able to just hang on as she catches a piece of the edge, but not enough to avoid a bogey. She's dropped a stroke today. The rookie Hung Yu-min, only 3.7 meters, but it is uphill. It's going to come back to her left. Herself slightly misaligned and requires 2 swings of that putter. Jung-min has survived long enough to keep herself within 2 strokes with 3 holes to play. Kim Shi-won also at 2 under par, tied for 5th. And 1 under is one of the most popular scores of the day. You can see some players with only a few holes remaining and others just a few holes into their opening round. More from the Aside Country Club when we return on the other side of this break. Welcome back. Great to have you aboard this afternoon. As we open the 5th event of 2023 and a test of the elements. 18 degrees, rainy and windy at just past 3:30 p.m. local time in Busan. Pacquiao is 6 off the pace on 6. An uphill putt looking at birdie. Close. Going on 5 and off the green. Pitched up, catches the fringe, moves towards the middle. Not as close as she would have aspired to there, still about 10 or 11 feet. Relatively dramatic start to number 7 as Hong Jung-min drives it into the fairway bunker. Works her way back closer to the pin. In a rather dramatic approach shot. Just a few holes remaining in her opening round. Nice birdie is right. Park Ji-young, despite missing the fairway in regulation, gets up onto the green and is able to convert on it. Her second birdie of the day. She moves under par. Hit on the first putt says the hope, the plan was to avoid a bogey. Getting that last little push. Unfortunately, not enough to get all the way there. It's still a formidable recovery. But the last step significantly easier than the first. reached the downward swing of the momentum, Park Yang, and consider the conditions she's facing on top of the scores to go along with it. She's probably not going to be disappointed to see this opening day come to a close. Meanwhile, grazes the edge, but isn't able to capitalize on a one-putt opportunity. There's no doubt if there was to be one postcard hole here at this fantastic country club in the southwest of the country, it would be right here. Landscaping, dramatic downhill over the water onto the island green. It's every golf designer and player alike's dream. Just generally when the sun is shining and it seems much more reasonable to try and reach. Young, after her birdie, is the first to play. It is almost the precise center of the hole. A little bit closer to the back than the front. But width-wise, it is in the middle. Park Young isn't overly enthused with that effort. She is certainly course corrected in a very impressive manner. Kim Minju, she'll still be disappointed with where she's at, considering where she had been. She is one hole removed from finishing under par. Basically done everything but par today. An incredible 9 holes on the lake course.
벌칙인 거예요.
Shows you just about all you need to know about the conditions today. Wait. 6. The gallery tries to find cover at 4. Bang Xin is not going to let it slow her down. She plays this 80-meter approach as her backspin towards the fringe, but will stay on and putting. Moment of calm that allows our title holder to reach in one piece.
우리 아이들 가벼워 날아갈 것 같아요.
The long way back across. Stops up in time, but only just. Outweighted the wind, and now Park Young works down. And that is quite the scattering of tee shots from everyone in our featured group here. Left, back, and right. back in the day with more of the metal spikes. It's a treacherous walk down on a wet cart path. A tremendous effort. The type that won't show up on the scorecard, but could be rolled into some confidence for future holes. Still +2 for Bangshin Chiu. That's what will leave a bit of a sour taste. Long way back for Hung Yu Min. She thought she had it there. I thought she had it there for a moment. The tiniest fraction. She is misaligned, and the miss is right. Hong Jung-min running out of time, as is An Sun-ju to make a final push, but both comfortably inside of the top 10. Ha-min Sung at 1 under on 18. Kim Min-ju 1 under on her 9th hole of the day. 22 players at the minute are under par. An additional swath, especially with more players having begun the round at even. In fact, there are 26 of them, including Mata Som, So Ojin. Im Ji-yu, the amateur, is also even through 13 holes. Started to have a poor Friday in Busan, especially out at the country club, which is where we are today for the 9th Kyochon 1991 Ladies Open. Our field doing their very best to just grab a hold and hang on to the conditions that they are facing. Not looking like it's going to be a whole lot different tomorrow either. Yuso Yan is on 9. It's her last hole of the day, and it's a nice way to end the day. She glances that off the flag. You can see perfectly even on the lake course. 3 birdies, a bogey, and a double bogey on the front 9 as she finishes tied for 24th with a nice hole out. Young on the long way back. The shouts, the hopes, and narrowly able to have the slightest of influences. Not enough to salvage a birdie opportunity. She's been fun, animated today. Now par save for Park Yang to avoid moving to +4. They'll be outside of the top 100. And she's pulled it. She had been absolutely cruising along. She hit a speed bump, which turned into a pothole, and now the wheels are off. Kochiyu, here she is on 8, also at that +4 score. Her approach bounces hole high and then rolls and rolls and rolls nearly all the way to the fringe, and that is a long 42 yards to roll down. Park Ji-young also looking for a par at 6, and she's able to avoid falling back to even. Still in a tie for 8th. Juice remains at 18. Hong Jung-min on 17. They are the closest to the top of those still on course. Yu So-yeon is off to a brilliant start to her round. 2 under through 3 holes. And then the contenders, we'll keep them in that category for now. The 17 of them, in fact, at 1 under par, including Park Ji-young, who stays there with her par at number 6. You move down the list, you start to see a lot of players who have been balanced to start their rounds at even 1 through 4 holes on average in the books, and then another swath of those who started on 10 and have worked their way to the Valley Course. We'll take a pause, we'll reset and get you back out to the 9th Kyochon 1991 Ladies Open right after this. Welcome back. We are in the late stages of many rounds with 132 players in the fields and unkind weather, to be gentle about it. It's going to lead to quite the disparity. And we are right in the thick of all of it, into our third hour of coverage. Hong Jun-min, who leaves herself just inches away from a birdie on her second to last hole of the day.
근데 진짜 상상 자체를 못했어. 지금 너무 얼떨떨한 것 같아. 일단 첫 홀에 세컨이 들어가가지고 좀 마음 편히 시작하니까 퍼터가 잘 떨어져 주는 것 같았어. 2부 투어 올라가서 우승도 하고 우승한 포인트로 내년에 1부 투어 뛰는 게 목표예요.
축하드립니다. 우와. 나왔는데? 아니야.
That was all Kanina in the most recent tournament on the Jump Tour, the third level of the Korean Golf Pyramid, just beneath the Dream Tour. 3-round event that was held at the Baekje Country Club. Some pretty brilliant highlights. Not just what we saw, but in general, of course, the chip in off the flag grabs the attention, but some incredibly steady golf on the way to the first win ever, period, underscored and all of that in her career. Working back across. Really testing the limits of the width of that fairway. Going off the right and into the rough. Next to tee off, no problems whatsoever, staying in the fairway. Mean and company, and down and away. Back to 7, Choi Yun gets stuck up on the fringe, and honestly, and It's not too bad of a result. I was coming down with a lot of speed, and even with the greens playing so soft, I was earmarked for about a 30-foot putt. Takes the option as a chip instead.
I
don't see many a miss, especially in a fairway bunker, but Sung-Yi makes up maybe 35 yards. We'll be hoping for no such trouble out of her fairway bunker on 7. Is unable to stay on the green. It's just been a day to forget, unfortunately, for one of the stars of this tour. To 9, Kim Min-ju. After the day she had, be surprised to see one last birdie. Flies that up very well, and can't say it's a guaranteed make, but she's had some pretty outstanding putts where she's created something out of nothing multiple times today. To about 6 feet. She has been red hot to start the round. Mata Som and company next to arrive. Tee above the island green. Just decently played by the sophomore with a big smile. After struggling to escape from that fairway bunker, that's likely what An Sung-Yi had envisioned 2 minutes ago. Young, first hiccup of the day. Had been smooth sailing up until now. A bogey that will take her back down to even. cut over the trees, trying to get around and just stay on top of the putting surface. But Hung Min going to be down that slope that we've seen so many find today. Yellow also on 5. Able to stay on the green, but well towards the back of it. By far the most power on any of the approach shots on 5. Wind offering no favors, but that was a very tricky lie with no real chance to get over top of the ball. And Song-mi from the fringe just chunks it. Need to double that distance, and now she's staring down a bogey. Drop down in excitement, as you might expect for Kim Min-ju. Said, don't be surprised. And in the end, 2 birdies in the final 3 holes. That is one busy scorecard. She is in the clubhouse with a 70, tied for 5th. Thong Jung-min, An Sun-ju, Park Ji-young, and Yoo So-yeon. But of the 18 holes, she had just 6 pars all day long. Speaking of Park Ji-young, you can call it 2 birdies and 3 for her as well. And that is why she is tied for 5th. Sung-mi, she will be sprinting into the clubhouse. You'd have to think after that incredibly disappointing end to the day. A double bogey. She had been bogey free all the way up until number 7, and she drops 3 strokes in the final 3 holes. Well, there you see Park Ji-young up there on page 1 of the leaderboard. Same score, same hole now as Hong Jung-min. Yoo So-yeon 2 under through 3 holes. Kim Ji-young 2, Kim Shi-won, Yoon Da-hyun, all with just a few holes remaining and all tied at 1 under par.
되는 거 안 되겠습니다.
It's not getting any less dramatic, but it is tame at 6. Significantly more so than where we find ourselves here on 5. Shin Shield, third on the par 4 to about 5 feet away.
나이스.
Can't really fault much at all about that effort from An Sung-ju, who is on pace for a round of 70, which would be more than a formidable score. For the obvious reasons that we have seen on display for the past 2.5 hours. Party Kimin Biao. Started the round with 4 consecutive pars, has her birdie at 5. It moves under par for the first time. And there is the par to end the day. Just the one bogey coming on the 5th hole of the Valley course. Yumin is off to a great start in her rookie campaign. There's a bit of a gulf between her and Kim In-byul in the rookie lead. She's definitely showing lots of promise and lots of potential in her nascent professional career. So we sit on 9 thus far, 455 meters. It's not the longest of the par 5s. In fact, it is the second shortest of the quartet. Hong Jung-min preparing for her approach. And finding herself in the rough between the fairway and the green. She went for it. Scorching out the gates. Yiga Young. Bogey at the last. Call this the bounce back hole. Oh, Jung-min trying to set up a par as she too chases the opening round 70 towards the left, and that is a dart to within about 5 feet. Soft green, acting more like a sponge than a trampoline. So Jean, just to get back to even on 6, just enough for it to go. It started with 4 pars, bogeyed the 5th. Gets it right back on the par 3. Very nicely played. This is a little bit concerning, to put it mildly, for Park Ji-young. It's a fairly wide open look at 8. She is the beneficiary of a shallow pin placement in this opening round, but we've seen these fairway bunkers cause havoc several times today. And with the trees in her way, that was her only option to lay up. We'll approach down with the wind at her back next. This is Amy Jung. She is not able to save par, so she will drop to +5 through just 6 holes. That is not the start to the day that she would have envisioned. Tie for 114. Park Hyun-kyung now. Jung So-yi, the rookie. It's the highest score of those still in competition, as we see Hong Jung-min finish with her par. 70 is her score. Park Ji-young won't be a birdie on 17 with the driver into the bunker, laying up. Yoo So-yeon, certainly a curious player to keep an eye on. 2 under through 4 is a good start, as is Kim Min-byul at 1 under through 4 holes of play. As we refresh, update the leaderboard, we can tell you that we have 26 players under par and another 26 at even. All the way down to the aforementioned Chung So-yi at +11, Kim Na-hyun 2, +10, and Liu Hyun-ji had withdrawn from the round. 4:40 local time in Busan. Time for another break. We'll be back with more as our opening round coverage of the Kyochon 1991 Ladies Open continues after this. back to Ashiade. Time to turn the water droplet diffused spotlight back to 6. Kim Min Byung. Just and only just enough to stay on the green. She'll actually get a bit of a roll down, a couple of feet, but still a long way away. Move over to 9, Jo Min, the inaugural champion of this event back in 2014. She shot even par to start her tournament then. She has that scintillating approach shot to just about 4 or 5 feet. So she would go with a 72. Be within 4 if she can hole out. Shield is next. +2 through 5. She goes to the right side of the green. One left, one right. Leaves the door wide open for Hung Min. Not sure the situation at the minute for Pak Jiang. Don't know if it's waterlogged in the fairway there. She is set a tee down. You can see stepping and the water does rise around her. Not to mention just the wind is blowing the balls around the fairway. Come back to them in a moment, but we're ready for Yu Min's tee shot. 6 only playing 117 meters. She goes to the back just to complete the trifecta. Left, right, and at the rear. Seen a few times, but they're on the much closer tee blocks there. They've been slated to be 141. They moved them down a level. And that's really just allowing, normally with a minimal wind type of day, you'd have a sand wedge really at most. No holes in one today. One eagle. That belonged to EG Hyun 3 with a 3 on the 11th. delay was seemingly just about worth it for Park Jae-young. She'll have that green and number 9 as the final 2 holes in her day. See her name on the last row of page 1 of the leaderboard. She must have that putt to save a par after needing to lay up. Yoo So-yeon is now through 4 holes, still at 2 under. Lee Ji-hyun 2, 1 under through 4 as well. Kim Min-byul, we'll keep an eye on her. Doesn't look like a birdie is headed her way on 6, but we won't have to prognosticate. We'll get that answer in just a few moments' time here. The first of 3 tries. Kim Min-byul, the shake of the head as she was close. All that extra speed to give herself even the slimmest of chances. Jungmin does have her birdie. 5 of them on the day, and 5 bogeys. She's in the clubhouse with a 72. It is a day that seemingly is never-ending for Park Hyung-kyung. It started so well, at least steady, but she has found herself all the way down at +5. Won't take very long for the wheels to come undone. Hung-Shin Shil to within about 4 feet. You mean it's nicely played. Was that or drop to +3, and she's able to connect about a 7-foot putt for par. It's way, but tailing off to the right. It's a should make, but not a will make type of putt. She's staring down at least a bogey. Let's take a look at some of the highlights of the day as we near the top of the clock. It was tricky when we were just getting around towards our portion of the broadcast, but at least it was significantly dry, or at least a spell without a ton of precipitation. 3 under through 9 was an incredible start to the day. Momentum would carry along into what is normally the front 9, but becomes the back 9 for today. Up to 4 under, which of course is the score to try and attain and maintain. That's the look of someone who not knows that they got away with one, but can celebrate not expecting a birdie. Let's put it that way. After 10 straight holes with a par, An Sunju would finally see birdie on number 2. And the late round push, well, it was very much on display from Pak Bo-gyam, just as it was for Kim Woo-jung, who was near perfect, which is an incredibly difficult thing to do on a day like today. This was a much different time for Park Young. It was even, and it wasn't all that long ago, but unfortunately there would be stumbling blocks aplenty in the near future. Kim Min-ju, who had recorded a double bogey and a bogey in quick succession. That run 3 through 6 was quite frankly shocking, but she battled back, put herself in a good position to finish well. Park Ji-young, this was her most marvelous putt from day number 1, a birdie to get to 1 under. She hadn't seen a birdie since just her second hole of the day. More on 7. Rocking back on her heels, trying to will the ball to stay online, but another victim on 7. It certainly was playing tricky today. Jung-min on her way to 70. And then this great bit of touch from around the green. Floating it up, catching the fringe, and almost miraculously ending up on line. A good battle from Yoo So-yeon too, to finish at even through 18 holes of play.
혹시 저 모전됩니까? 경기운 좀 불러주시면 안 돼요? 이건 안 돼요. 경기운.
A few moments ago, Park Ji-young before her troubles on 8.
경기 없대요.
And as she heads to her 18th and final hole of the day, she has been just surpassed by Yoo So-yeon. That bogey drops Park Ji-young to 1 under par with only 1 hole to play. 3 back of the lead, and even if she can find a par within 3 would be a pretty good spot to be in by the end of day 1, though we have seen our fair share of birds on 18 today, must be said. Kim Min-biel, she has dropped a bogey on 6 to fall back to even. We have Oh Soo-min, the amateur, who is even through 5. She is certainly the low-am thus far today, and in very good stead, with 53 players currently at even par or lower. A glance at the forecast for tomorrow. We'll get thunderstorms and rain, 40 to 80 millimeters of it forecasted for moving day Saturday. And it's an important day, as this is just a 3-round event. So anyone who is on the wrong side of even par will be their opportunity to try and battle back, and for those in the hunt to try and create some separation, as it is Kim Woo-jung with a 1-stroke advantage over Ho Da-bin, Hang Jung-mi, and Pak Bo-kyum.